As we come to the waning days of the Biden administration, where across the globe could you point and say the United States is safer because of what we did here?
Well, I'd start by saying our alliances are stronger than we found them 4 years ago. They're stronger than they've been in decades. NATO is more powerful, purposeful, and bigger. Our alliances in the Asia Pacific are at all-time highs. And our adversaries and competitors are weaker across the board. Russia's weaker, Iran's weaker, China is weaker. And all the while, we kept America out of war. So I think the American people are safer and the country is better off than we were 4 years ago. And we're handing all that off to the next team, as well as having the engines of American power humming, our economy, our technology, our defense industrial base, our supply chains. So the United States is in a stronger, more secure position, and our competitors and adversaries are weaker and under pressure. I think that's the main handoff that we will make to the incoming team.
You talked about how America is not at war, at least not in a hot war right now, and it's true that no more Americans are being killed in Afghanistan. The U.S. has withdrawn. Obviously, Afghanistan is one place the U.S. did not leave in a stronger position. The country of Afghanistan itself and the chaotic withdrawal. We lost 13 U.S. service members. Today, the Taliban is firmly in charge, once again stripping away women's rights. You heard Senator Katie Britt talk about the resurgence of ISIS-K. According to Washington Post columnist David Ignatius, you offered to resign in the wake of the withdrawal operation. Is that true?
Well, I have kept my personal conversations with the president private for 4 years. That is the job of National Security Advisor, and I'm not going to change up in the last week. So I can't tell you what I talked about with him personally and privately. What I can tell you is that the United States of America is definitively better off that we are not entering our 25th year of Americans fighting and dying in Afghanistan.
Well, let me ask you this then. Did you feel responsible? Did you feel personally responsible for the failures in the withdrawal?
I think the entire team, the entire national security team, has responsibility for everything in our national security, and that includes me as the National Security Advisor. I also believe that the strategic call President Biden made, looking back 3 years, history has judged well and will continue to judge well from the point of view that if we were still in Afghanistan today, Americans would be fighting and dying. Russia would have more leverage over us. We would be less able to respond to the major strategic challenges we face. And just to the point that Senator Britt made before, we have not seen, although the investigation continues, any connection between Afghanistan and the attacker in New Orleans. Now, the FBI will continue to look for foreign connections. Maybe we'll find one. But what we've seen is proof of what President Biden said, which is that the terrorist threat has gotten more diffuse and more metastasized elsewhere, including homegrown extremists here in the United States who have committed terrorist attacks, not just under President Biden, but under President Trump in his first term. And that is part of why we had to move our focus from a hot war in Afghanistan to a larger counterterrorism effort across the world.